Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. Boy, that thunder. I can't wait till it's gone. I don't know about you. The earth changes are real. It is a real thing. And that is where I'm concerned. Are we going to go into a mini ice age on certain parts of the world where other parts turn into a huge desert? Is the belt, it goes from the equator all the way up to the UK and Germany and all that. Is that going to slow down? Is that going to put them in the deep freeze? Right now, well, the UK is suffering the coldest winter they've had in a lot of years. And winter is still not over with. What would happen if that warm belt all of a sudden stopped? What do you think, James?
Well, like that one news report I did earlier, we could probably go into some parts to a mini ice age. Back in 1615, the Thames River froze because the things slowed down, what you're mentioning. And as of now, the Colorado River has slowed down, and it's evaporating because of less snowfall.
That is the scary thing. So part of the world could go into a drought, huge hot temperatures, while other parts of the world could go into a mini deep freeze. You know, people don't realize, even here where I live in the Pacific Northwest, the last ice age, Seattle, Washington, was under thousands of feet of ice. But if you traveled about 60 miles away, the temperature was like a bombing, around 70 degrees, quite livable. That's what could happen. But we got a lot of things going. We still have, the camp about the magnetic field, the core, the switch, between, the north and south and all that. If the poles switch, well, they don't know what actually could happen. I mean, some scientists say a huge storm of wind could come through and destroy, humanity. The other ones will say, we don't know what could happen. Maybe nothing. We don't know. But we are getting set up for it. Right now, the sun is going into, and it's going into a deeper habitation state. People don't realize sunspots. That's energy coming off the sun. That's what creates energy. That's what gives us also the warm temperatures. But Whitley was so right. We have so much carbon monoxide in the atmosphere, in our air. It's holding the temperatures in. That can also cause, us from going into a deep freeze, at least in certain parts of the world. Got a lot of things that you scratch your head on.
Yeah, I mean, you speak of methane. The one news report I did just over the last century, Gary, it is up 150%. That's a pretty good increase, and methane could be a cause of a lot of gashouse gases and a lot of other problems as far as that goes. But you're right; it's going to be cold in some areas and hot in others. And as far as when the poles change, who's to say that won't act as a catalyst for a lot of seismic activity on top of that?
Well, it could. It could set the Ring of Fire off, too. I mean, Yellowstone could go off, the one in California, the one out in the Pacific Ocean, and who knows where else. I mean, we just don't know what could happen. I mean, to have the pole switch, the molten lava or the iron in the earth, I mean, just all of a sudden it's going one direction, and all of a sudden it stops and goes the other direction. I mean, it's a lot of things involved here, and we don't know. I know one thing, the storms are getting bigger, more powerful. Here in my state, where I live near the compound, we don't have tornadoes, but last year we did. up not even more than 6-7 miles away from my compound. There was a small tornado it hit. It took out a business park. It took out some homes and a couple little areas. Only one person, fortunately, got hurt. But we've never had one in recorded history. Scary.
Wow. Well, and speaking of weather, even where I live here in Dover, Ohio, it was 65 degrees just last week, and we're talking in the beginning of February. It should be like 20 degrees. That's unheard of weather. And then look at Antarctica. It was 69.35 degrees just a week or two ago.
Yeah, just under 70. That's interesting. That has never been recorded either. It tells us something is going on. Has the earth tilted? Some of the elders out there on the tribes say that the earth is kind of tilted a little bit. I don't know. I'm not a scientist to digest that. But I can say the storms are getting more powerful. You think about all the methane gas that's being released in Antarctica and the tundra in Canada, is an enormous amount. The scientists no longer can sit there and, it's the cows that's causing the methane gas. I don't buy that one. I really think about this methane gas as bubbling up in Antarctica as it thaws out. Just think about all the vegetation that has been frozen for thousands and thousands and thousands of years are now thawing out, and they're decaying way fastly, because this is the way things are. If you go out and bring an old ship that's been sunk for 100 years and you bring it into the air, it deteriorates really fast. The same thing in Antarctica as it's thawing out. This stuff is, decaying at a record speed. The Himalayas, different Mount Everest, and all this stuff, the bodies that are popping out, that have been there for, anywhere from 50 years to a couple hundred years or 1,000 of years, are popping out because guess what? The glaciers are like melting.
Oh, yeah. There's viruses that been thawed out that's 15,000 years old or older. That one guy, the anthropologist, not too long ago, a couple years ago, he was on his hands and knees, and it soaked in the permafrost, and that was up in Burrow, Alaska. They were looking at old seals that had been dead for who knows how long, and they were, and it soaked through his pants and got on his knees and had a little sore, and it started spreading. It was one of them viruses.
Oh, yeah. There's another way, too. You could get an infection from it, too, that nothing with our antibiotics would even work. That is all the things that, I hate to say it, we could look forward to. I don't know. Even these bodies that are popping up, and then people, they, naturally check it out. Climbers going up Mount Everest, when they discover a body that's been there for a couple hundred years or longer. Just think about the viruses or whatever they had. Our bodies wouldn't be able to handle it. The same way as when we came, right, into this country. What happened to the natives? How many of them died? How many of them died from smallpox? You're absolutely
correct.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. And, another thing, it's scary. We may be past the point of no return. That's the thing. Maybe that's why these aliens were trying to get him to hurry. I don't know, but it makes you think about it, though.
Well, it makes me think that something is going on, and they're instructing him to get this stuff done at a record speed. Again, to write a book and then get it to the publisher. I don't know if he self-published his last book. I have to look here after the show. Or if he had his publisher do it. But to get it out on the deadline with a publisher, you write a book and you send it to him, that's a year project or more. It tells me that something is going on, that they wanted to get it out humanly fast because they're trying to get a message to us. That's all.
Right. And I wonder if there's any other abductees like him that's on the same course that they use for the same thing as backup plans, or they have a whole different ones doing the same thing. That would be interesting to find out. But boy, there's a lot going on there. That's for sure. I'm definitely looking forward to his new book.
Oh, so am I. I mean, I should do is send this copy of his book here, for you to read it. I think you need to sit and read it.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you. You said you're going to let me read it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. I still got, I have his original book, The Communion's, on my bookshelf behind me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you should read that off and on.
I do. I'm thinking, I haven't read it in a while. I should go through it again and read it.
Well, I guess maybe it was the cost of shipping. Do you realize what it costs to ship a book out now? Just even a small book. It's not like $1 or $2 or $3 anymore. It's like $9 to $12 to send a little book out. That's just regular mail. That's not, fast postage. And the post office wonders why they're not making money. Well, they sure made money off of that guy that got, how many, 55,000 copies of a bill?
Yes, 55,000 copies. That was a bill collector trying to get 55,000 copies. And didn't you do the schematics on that, and it come out to an astronomical figure of what they spent, outweighed what they was owed?
When you think about the postage, the cost of the paper, okay, the cost of the toner or ink, because undoubtedly they probably use a toner, that type of printer, a laser type, big laser commercial printer, to print it out, the cost of all that, then the cost of the envelope, then the cost of, making, I'm sure the machine actually even seals the envelope shut. But you're probably looking at each letter costs them at least $1 to $1.50 to send out. So
Okay,
whatever commission they're going to make off of those people, I can just say, guess what? They're not making anything. They're in the hole.
Yeah, you're looking at $60,000 to $75,000 just to get that thing processed and put out for what, a few $1,000s? That's bizarre.
No, that's not done with. Undoubtedly, there's going to be a lawsuit because I tell you what, if you had 55,000 letters coming, right, and demanding payment, that's harassment, regardless if it's. In other words, attorneys would point out to a court and to a jury or whatever that company was negligent, that is, they have no safeguards. They didn't, have anything set up to, let alone send 5 or 6 letters, but to send to the extreme of 55,000, the mental stress it would cause on that young couple, regardless if they realize, well, something's wrong, but just to sit there and keep getting a stack and box by box of these, same bills. That's harassment. That's mental anguish. And you know what? The time they get done with that collection agency, they might even pretty much own it.
Oh, you are absolutely right, because it doesn't take 55,000 letters to get a harassment. It only takes maybe 5 or 10 within a week, and you're going to have a good lawsuit. So you can imagine the lawsuit. They're going to have a mountain of evidence of 55,000 letters. That's open and shut.
Well, they're just lucky they didn't get 55,000 phone calls from the collection agency about the bill, huh?
Oh, that is a good one. Let me tell you, that's a good one because, again, that is harassment. And another thing, these poor people, their name's going to be brought out into the public, and now that's what do you call it? You said
it damages your character. Let alone some people like us might make fun of it, but then other people, when you go out looking for a job, they don't want you. I mean, because they're worried about what would happen next. But 55,000 letters, bills, tells me somebody in that company is a moron. A moron. Because you know what? Even commercial printers, the big printer machines, don't carry 55,000 sheets of paper. Somebody